All right, moving on to number 5. And it says circle all the values that are less than 12/16. Circle all of them. That means there's more than one answer, and we're looking for something or those that are less than 12/16. And as we look at all of these, okay, we can see this one's good. 12 and 1600ths is good. That's already in a decimal. We don't need to do that. We need to change this one. We need to change the 1/3. Okay. We need to change, this one's good. The 5/10 is good. We need to change 1/4 and we need to change 3/4. Now, hopefully you already know what 3/4 is as a decimal and 1/4 is as a decimal, and you may already know what 1/3 is as a decimal. And if you do, then that makes life so much easier. All right, I'm going to come back up here. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I am going to change the 12/16 to a decimal first. But when I look at the 12/16, I know that they're both even numbers, and I can see my times table in my head, so I know that 12/16 I can reduce. And I think if I reduce it, it'll make it so much easier to divide. Because trying to do 12 inside divided by 16 on the outside, wow, those are bigger numbers, and I don't want to deal with those bigger numbers. So I'm going to go ahead and reduce it. And I look at 12 and I know that 2 will divide into 12 and 2 will divide into 16. And I know that 3 will divide into 12, but it won't divide into 16, so I can't use 3. 4 will divide into 12, and 4 will divide into 16. Okay, so now I'm looking at the 4. And now let's see, what else will divide into 12? Let's see, 5, no, 6, yes, but 6 won't divide into 16. And that's the only other thing other than 12, and 12 won't go into 16, so I'm going to go back to the 4. And to reduce it, instead of multiplying our numerator and denominator by the same number, we're going to divide our numerator and denominator by the same number. So if you have a hard time with dividing, let's not think division. Let's think backwards, because the opposite or the inverse operation of division is multiplication. So 4 times what is 12? Well, yep, 3. So we are going to put the 3 there. And 16 divided by 4, but let's think. Okay, let's see. 4 times what is 16? Oh, I know that one. It's 4 times 4. So it's 3/4. Well, I can come over here and say, hey, wait a minute. There's 3/4. I don't even need to change that one to a decimal, because I'm looking at which ones are less than. 3/4 isn't less than 3/4. It's the same. See you later, 3/4. That one's gone. I don't even have to do anything with that one. Okay? So now let's change 3/4 to a decimal. 3/4 is way easier than trying to figure out this one. Okay? So if you already know what decimal 3/4 is, then go ahead. You're good to go. Forward the video, try to finish the problem, and then come back and check it and see if you got it right. All right, I'm going to go ahead and erase this stuff. Okay, let's get some of this messy stuff out of the way. I'm going to keep this X'd out because we know we're not going to use that one. Okay, so that one, we're done with that. All right, so we had the 3/4. So we need to go ahead and change 3/4 to a decimal. So we're going to do 3 inside divided by 4 on the outside. All right, so we're going to go ahead and add our decimal point and our 0, move our decimal point up. Okay, so 4 times what is 30? Well, 4 is really close to 3, so I'm going to start with 9. So 4 times 9, that's 36. That's too big. 4 times 8, that's 32, and that's too big. But 4 times 7 is 28. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put the 7 up here. I should have left a little bit more room, and now I'm going to multiply. 4 times 7 is 28, and then I'm going to subtract. 30 minus 25 is, whoopsie, I made a mistake there, didn't I? Do you see my mistake? I said that 4 times 7 is 28, but what did I write? I wrote 25. Whoops, I'm erasing the whole thing. Let's backtrack that. Let's make this a little smaller. There we go. Okay, let's just erase this a little bit. All right, so let's try to multiply again. And I realized that because my remainder was bigger. All right, so now 4 times 7 is 28. I don't know why we're at 25. So now when I subtract 30 minus 28 is 2. And I have to add a 0 since I have a remainder here. So I'm adding my 0. I'm going to bring it down. And 4 times what is 20? Well, it's 5. And 4 times 5 is 20. 20 minus 20 is 0. So therefore, 3/4 equals 0.75. Okay? So now, let's come over here. What can we look at? Well, we can look at this one. Well, 12 holes is way bigger than that, so that's not less than 0.75. See you later, 12 and 6/100ths. All right, let's come over here to this one. That's 12 and 1600%. All right, so if you remember, with a percent, let's not do it the long way. It's either 12.16 over 100, because then you're dividing it. So really all we need to do is move the decimal point 2 places. So here we have, so now we're going to compare 0.75 to 0.12. Is that less than? So looking at the 1 and the 7, yes. So this one's good to go. So 12.16% is less than that. So I'm going to circle that one. But I'm not going to stop there because it says circle all the values that are less than 12/16. So now I'm going to come over here. Well, I can tell by looking at this one because this one has a hole. So that's 1. 1 and something. Okay? Even if whether I knew what 1/4 was as a decimal, which I do, which is 0.25 because there's 1/4. 1 out of 4 is a quarter, 25 cents. So I know that 0 is less than 1. So I know that can't be it. Bye. So if 1 is bigger than 0, then I know that 33 is bigger than 0. So I'm going to scratch that one out. That one's done. So now I'm going to come over here, and now I'm going to compare 0.75 and 5, throwing that 0, and boom. So 0.5. So there are our 2 answers. So let me go ahead and just kind of highlight them so you can see. So this is one of the answers, and this is one of the answers, and none of the other ones are. All right? Is this making sense to everybody? If it's not, you need to let me know, okay? Because I am bebopping around the classroom. All right. On to number 6 in just a minute.